my guidance to go-to-market leaders is don't try to game the algorithm. Be just an amazing human being first and then be an amazing marketer or go-to-market leader, right? And what that really means is deeply understand your customers, figure out what they're going to be asking, and create content that directly answers that inquiry.
GTMAI podcast with Jonathan Austin, Coach K, where you get the latest with AI and GTM today.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. It is I, Jonathan Carpenter, aka Coach K, and I am pleased, privileged, honored, happy. I'll think of other adjectives of a dear friend of mine in the AI and pavilion space, which is you, my friend, dear Liza Adams. How are you?
I am awesome, and it's always such a pleasure talking with you. And
oh yeah,
I'm already laughing.
Oh, before we go on,
we talk, we laugh.
I know we laugh, right? We were just talking how I had to get my desk, and I don't like doing interviews sitting on it. And she was, you would tell how tall you are. I'm like, yeah, you come up to like above my belly button.
I was as tall as when I'm standing or sitting because I'm 4 feet.
That's really funny. I am so grateful to have you. So if people don't know, I'm going to tell a bit about you. Obviously, I'm a marketing phenom, as I like to say. So you've been doing marketing at Pure Storage, Smartsheet, at Encompass Technologies. You're now doing your advisorship in fractional CMO. I can't even speak. At Growth Path Partners. Your partner, Tawny, was on the podcast by the time it came out a couple months ago, and she was a phenomenal guest. A really good person. I love Tawny. She's awesome. And just excited to have you. So I know we could talk all day about a lot of stuff, but before we dive into this, you know, I want to talk about, I like to have you talk about you, the non-resume, non-LinkedIn version of who you are, your journey, and how in the heck to get in this weird, crazy world of AI and why you're talking about it and all. Give me all the good stuff.
Yeah, so non-LinkedIn version. So I'm in Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah.
So been here for 25 years. You know what's funny? I was talking to somebody, and half of my career I spent in Silicon Valley, right? So I was married to an airplane, like out on Mondays, back on Thursdays for over a decade, but
That's
never
really
really moved to the Valley. And I was actually talking to somebody, and they said, in the Valley, when somebody says, so what do? You got your LinkedIn version, right? Oh, I'm CMO, whatever. But here, when you say, hey, what do you do? They say, oh, I hike 14ers. I snowshoe.
That's funny.
So I actually got the best of both worlds. I got to spend a lot of time in the Valley with people who are changing the world. And then I come home and I'm grounded by nature and I love it here. But I was not born and raised here. I came here when I was 14 by myself from the Philippines. And I have a lot of gratitude to many people for just taking on this Filipino girl that didn't know a soul, didn't have a single penny.
Right.
Just give me so many opportunities. Became an engineer. So I'm an engineer, electrical engineer by education.
That's right. I remember this last time. Engineer. Yeah. Remember this.
Yeah, and I was a sales engineer for a while. So I carried a bag, but then realized that I can tell stories and I love this capture hearts and minds the wallets follow.
A good policy. I like it.
Yeah, so I moved into marketing and never looked back. I really took on like these marketing roles. And my last role was CMO of a company here in Colorado. And I thought it was going to be my last, but it wasn't meant to be. We were acquired. And then I said, you know what, maybe that was it. And I'm going to try to serve on boards because I am passionate about getting more men and women of color on boards, but found out that there are not that many marketers on boards.
On boards, yeah.
Yeah, less than 3% of all board members have marketing experience. It was actually...
Which that's fascinating, by the way. I know there's a lot of finance, obviously a lot of CEOs, but like no marketing. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah.
I know. It's crazy, right? So I dug in so deeply. I'm like, why? Why is it that we're not on boards? But one of the biggest perceptions of marketing is that we are tactical rather than strategic. So people
That is crazy. Yeah.
People see the websites and social posts and events, but they don't see like the go-to-market strategy that we do, segmentation, targeting, positioning, or, deep market insights, product market fit, like that kind of all falls by the wayside. I decided I'm going to not go back to corporate. I've not shut that door, but I decided I'm going to be fractional and I'm going to pick and choose the companies and the CEOs that value strategic workup marketing. And my exit happened to coincide with the launch of ChatGPT. And
There it is. Perfect timing.
there we go. So when I first saw ChatGPT, I automatically sought for potentially flipping the script for marketing. That it wasn't just this thing that could help us create blogs or write emails, but we could use it as a thought partner and give us deep market insights to help us with decision making and personalization and automation. And I'm like, this is it, right? This is how we flip the script. And so I infused all of our work from really tactical things to really strategic things with AI, and I started sharing it because I was passionate about elevating the value of go-to-market functions, and almost unintentionally just built the brand from there. And now I'm helping go-to-market leaders, basically inspiring their teams with what's possible with AI and helping transform them. So
That's awesome.
my story.
I love it. Like, it's so interesting hearing people's stories just through the ChatGPT and COVID and all these different things, how it kind of wraps you in. And then you come out on the other side and you're doing great. The content you're putting out is awesome. You're like one of the nicest people ever. And you make me laugh like crazy, which is a lot of fun. So I just really, it's nice to see that like me and Jonathan Moss and Tani and you and all these people putting out really good content, getting people to think differently, because we don't know what the next iteration looks like until someone says, but what if we could do this? And you're one of those people who is saying, but look at this. Here's a cool thing we can do right now. And I love it.
My good friend, you may know him, Andy Crestodina, who's just a brilliant digital marketer, right? He basically told me that content marketing is a journey of generosity. If you just put it out there and help and be insightful, right? Because we all are learning from each other. No one's been down this path.
Right.
Why are we going to be hoarding any knowledge, right? So put it out there and be as helpful as you can. And, it's amazing what comes back in crazy ways. So
yeah, 3000% agree with it. So I'm going to share, because one of the topics we want to talk about was this thing you said about mindset shift. So help give some lay of the land. If someone's listening to this on an audio, I'm so sorry you're going to miss this. But if you look at this lovely little picture, this has to do with your latest newsletter. We talk about this concept around AI leaders, human AI org transformation playbook. And this thing right here, which is fascinating, which I want to dive into, was the thing that I know got a lot of traction in the community. You've obviously a lot of interaction on this particular post. I want to I'm not going to say anything about it. I just want you tell me, you explain this thing to me.
Yeah. So before I explain that thing to you,
yeah,
when we go into ChatGPT on the main page, we see a conversation box and some conversation starters, right?
Yes.
Same thing with Claude, same thing with Perplexity, Gemini, your favorite AI of choice. And it looks like a fancy search engine, or it looks like a question and answer machine, right? We now know that it is more than that it can be used for many things beyond content creation. And in fact, there's a stat from McKinsey that the use of AI in sales and marketing can add anywhere from 1.4 to $2.6 trillion of added business value.
Yeah.
But if we're only primarily using it for blogs and LinkedIn posts, then I'd say we can't blog post our way to $2.6 trillion. So we got to push this thing to use it as a thought partner for ideation, use it for automation, for personalization, for insights and analytics, so that it can inform decision making.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to wrap your head around when you've got a conversation box in front of you, right? Yeah. So people have to see how to use this thing in specific use cases that are related to their work. So a salesperson will not be able to relate to this if you start showing them a brand use case, or a product marketer needs to see a product marketing use case, not an SDR use case. They need to see themselves and what they do in the real life use case. So in sharing that with people, I realized, and this is not my original idea, somebody else came up with this. I just made it come to life a little bit more. Hey, what if we actually can create AI assistants and powered by MarTech stack or custom GPTs, what have you, AI assistants that do very specific tasks, trained on our knowledge, trained on our data, and have them report to us.
Yeah.
Org chart, right? Where so I'm describing this to the listeners who don't have the benefit of seeing the chart. It's literally
Right.
an org chart with humans on it, but reporting to the humans are these AIs or custom GPTs that the humans built, trained, and now continue to maintain and manage. So
Right.
that's the idea, and I think it's such an unlock for a lot of people when we see eyes being teammates and being assistants to us rather than just a tool or a replacement for our roles.
Yeah. I love this. Like this, the mindset, you're correct. Like a lot of people look at it as just like this bot Google screen and how's the heck is that a teammate? But when you look at it like this, as I've been getting into, we were talking this before we started recording, is I know you've messed with relevance and some of the agent stuff. I've been messing with it, and GBT kind of like a dumbed down version of an agent. But point is, the more I've gotten into agent workflows working really well is when you create like an agent team. And instead of thinking of one AI replacing one human job, it's more about what sequence of tasks in one AI do. Like, for example, it's kind of like here you have the market analyzer, that's its entire job, or the pitch deck builder, that's its entire job. So all it does is that. So if you think about it from that lens, this makes a lot of sense. You're thinking about, okay, now I don't have to hire that resource out. One thing I want to point out, and this is what is crazy, is that the world we're going into, there'll be, like you said, sometimes some tools aren't easy to work with. The world we'll go into is where this layer here does become all AI, because right now this is human, but this would become AI, or until this becomes AI, and all of this becomes AI, and then this is like literally the only human there, because it's just the head of marketing. But what you and I talked about, and I want to point this out and get your thoughts on it, was a lot of people, for good reason, are worried about losing their jobs to AI. But I want to look at it from saying, okay, if you have a team, you have two different teams at the same time, right? They both have 10 SDRs, and one team cuts down to half. So this half is gone. So they have 5 left, and this has 10. Obviously, my writing's horrible on a mouse. I'm so sorry. And they use AI, but they have the 5, I can't do this, times, this is horrible, I'm going to show off my things, don't make fun of me, as obviously 50, right? And this team over here, they keep it, which means it equals to 100. So 10 times 10 is 100. They're twice as much as before. So yes, they could cost technically a little bit more, but the cost to profit margin is not even close when you think about empowering your team in that way. And I think that's one thing that I feel like some leaders get short-sighted because they think short-sighted, we got to save on costs. They don't think long-term of, but what if this team stayed and we empowered them? And like, instead of like in this example of marketing, instead of getting rid of everybody, what if this research data scientist or this product marketing manager, you have 2 of them, what if they have their entire fleet of people and then they become like a team of product marketers versus just 2 people doing product marketing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's
Crazy.
such an astute insight, because a case study that I shared a couple of weeks ago, it was a 25-person marketing team.
Yeah.
And we essentially transformed it within less than 6 months to a 45-member marketing team with the same 25 humans, now augmented by 20 AI assistants. Like human beings just added the 20 AIs, and then now they're achieving so much more, right? 5% better campaign performance, 98% accuracy on lead qualification, 75% faster content creation.
Yeah.
Same number of human beings, they're paying literally $1,000 a month for AI for all the custom GPTs.
That's awesome.
Moderna model. So Moderna, what is it, 80-90% adoption of AI throughout the company. And last year they had 750 GPTs deployed. I'm sure it's over 1,000 now, right?
Yeah.
So the CEO of the company basically said, hey, we'll be able to develop 15 more drugs over the next 3 to 5 years.
Crazy.
With the same or just an incremental number of people.
Yeah. Yep. Let's dig into this a little bit. So like when you come into a team and you're talking about, and they're let's say they have 0, they use ChatGPT regular prompting, but they don't have GPTs, they don't have any bots, they don't think in this way. How do you go about prioritizing where to begin and then building this out? What do you do? How do you say that?
And you're going to hear me say this quite a bit. I don't go straight into AI when I come into a team.
Good.
especially marketing team, right? Because if I go in straight into AI, then it's AI for the sake of AI, and that's not how I work.
I understand.
Some people think about me as an AI expert, and I tell them, no, I am passionate about getting diverse perspectives at every table, passionate about using business as a force for good, and elevating the strategic work of go-to-market teams. AI just happens to be a means to an end because it's an amplifier, right? So it amplifies my passion, and that's why I do what I do. So when I go into marketing teams, as an example, the first point of entry really is around how customer behaviors, buying patterns, and their preferences are changing. They understand that, but they don't know how to shift their thinking to adapt to this new environment, right? So it's really more understanding, hey, zero-click search, the way we're searching is changing. Information is really important. Being that trusted brands are going to be important, right? Element is important. Connected experiences across the buyer's journey is really important. Once we understand those things, then we start thinking AI. Okay, how then do we adapt to zero-click search? Okay, let's think about that. We need to create highly relevant content, so relevant that humans and the AI can ignore us. So just an example, that's when you start getting into the use cases.
Yeah. I've been nerding out to obviously the ChatGPT deep research, and then before that was Google Gemini research. I've been doing some comparison between the two, and I like both. Like, they're both awesome.
Yeah.
I do both. I'm experimenting both with using the same prompts and seeing what responses they have. Sometimes there's some things with ChatGPT I like, another time it's usually Gemini, to be honest with you, because ChatGPT for some reason only goes to 20, maybe 25 sites, but Gemini goes like to 170 sometimes. It's crazy how it goes to. But then I bring this up because I'm curious from your lens. When more and more people use this type of function, whether it's search GPT with ChatGPT or like a deep research is analyzing tons of websites through a logic that it goes through based on the prompt, what do marketers or go-to-market strategy people do, content, whatever, what do you do to make sure that your stuff is bubbling up so when the AI crawls into its for whatever query, you're a site that goes, ooh, this is cool, I'm going to take this in for my response, and it becomes part of the long, massive thing that deep research creates. Does that make sense? What do you think?
So this cuts to the core of how do we make ourselves findable?
Yeah.
The era of AI, and it's one aspect to be found. Another aspect for AI to actually serve up good things about us. So let's address the being found first. And I think to be found, we have to anticipate what these questions or inquiries will be from our potential customers at the top, the middle, and the bottom of the funnel. So back to basics. Don't even try to game the algorithm. Don't try to figure it out, because even if there was one, and I have no idea what it is, right? They're probably not going to tell us. Let's just say we knew what the algorithm is. It's probably going to be different 30 minutes from now.
It will. Legit. That's no joke. Yeah.
My guidance to go-to-market leaders is don't try to game the algorithm. Be just an amazing human being first, and then be an amazing marketer or go-to-market leader, right? And what that really means is deeply understand your customers, figure out what they're going to be asking, and create content that directly answers that inquiry. Because when it directly answers the inquiry, then AI has no choice but to serve it up.
Yeah.
And when we do get served up, then the likelihood of them clicking on the citation to go back to our website is higher. And the last thing is, when they go back to our website, then that means that they're highly qualified. The question we served, they like the content, they clicked on it, and we better not freaking lose them.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you say? I love this thought around the hyper-personalization that happens, because like when I go through the Bryant University course and I teach people who have never even touched ChatGPT ever, and I'm going through the process of teaching them how to prompt. Like most people are used to Googling or shorthand texting. We're used to cutting things down, and in the era of prompting, even the daily users aren't doing advanced prompts, but they are longer than just your keywords on SEO. So I think part of it, to your point, is understanding what are those sentence long tail questions that your IACP is asking. The search GPT is saying, whatever the topic is, how does this technology work with this technology, or whatever the thing is, or how, what's the ROI of this particular thing, or whatever the case might be. I've been thinking a lot about that. I'd love to get your take on obviously I'm sure you use ChatGPT for this, but what process do you go through to help you? How do you use AI to help you understand your ICP in a way to be able to answer those questions they might be asking? Does that make sense? Hopefully.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you've done this quite a bit because the long way is the traditional way, right? You do interviews, you do surveys, blah, 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 all sorts of things. Or there's actually a lot of information at our fingertips. Go to Capterra, G2, Trust Radius. My goodness, like tons of customer reviews, whether it's your competitors or yours, they're speaking in their language. Take all that and pour it into an AI because that's public information, right? That's not even sensitive data. You can use that. You could also use transcripts from call transcripts, sales transcripts with potential customers, but you can use any transcript that you have from doing customer testimonials or case studies. There's so much data that we can then use as data points for AI to ingest. And then with AI, I could just say, hey, you're an exceptional product marketer. I'm going to give you some insights about the needs, the challenges, the pain points, and how our potential customers are planning to solve their problems using customer reviews, using transcripts from sales calls, et cetera, and case studies. Infer from this vast amount of data what might be some of the key insights and key questions that they would ask at the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, and the bottom of the funnel. And for each one, share your rationale why you picked those. Yeah. So based on that prompt, then we at least know a set of questions and some reasoning from the model that says, here's why I picked it. And I always like to ask it the reason why. This is part of the transparency thing and part of still us using our brains rather than just relying on AI to do our work. I want to know why it picked those questions, right? What makes you believe that those are the right questions at the top, middle, and bottom of the funnel? It may not be exactly right, but now we have something that we can then validate with the market. And that's a lot easier than starting from scratch.
Yeah. It reminds me of a couple of different things. First off, I love what you're saying about this whole thing. It's like nothing you're saying is going through my MBA marketing brain class of my stuff. It's like, this is all like what I learned in MBA. That's like, there's nothing mind blowing, but it's how you're getting there and the way you're approaching it and thinking through the process. What I like about your prompt that you spoke out with, I'll use my AI to actually give it to people. So I'll make a prompt over what you just said and give it to people through the newsletter. But what I like about it is that from a prompting perspective, there's a study in Abu Dhabi in January 24, a year ago. They talked about different strategies of how to get good responses. And one of them is asking the AI to justify or to prove why it's reasoning of whatever you're talking about. There's little nuggets like this that make a big difference in the output. Because like I want to see it because I'm selfish. I want to see what it is. But it also forces the AI to do things a little bit differently. It makes a big difference on the output,
That's right.
It's pretty cool.
When I prompt it in that way, I usually even say, ask me one or two questions, clarifying questions before we start.
Yeah.
To ensure that I prompted it the right way and it has information to do its work. So anyway.
What's cool about that though is that like with Google Deep Research, and I know there's lots of models, but Google Deep Research, it does the plan and then gives you a chance to edit the plan. With ChatGPT Deep Research, it asks you those clarifying questions before it goes into its deep dive of whatever topic you're talking about, which is really fascinating. I think it's cool they've mixed that layer in automatically because it's been talked about prompting so much to do that, which is pretty cool. Okay, I got to nerd out with tools for a second. I know I'm with you that I don't start with AI tools, but now that we're talking about, let's talk about some AI tools. In a marketing world, besides ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude, outside of those core, what's your favorite? What are you nerding out on? Give me the goods. What do you like?
Just personally for me?
Yeah, just you.
You probably have seen my tech stack. In one of my posts, I had this, again, an org chart of my stack. And it's $70 a month is what I pay. But basically, I have the paid versions of Claude, ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Gemini. But Gemini kind of comes with my 2 gig of storage.
Your stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
That's good.
I use free napkins.
Hey, I freaking love napkins. Awesome.
I love that.
I love napkin. Yeah.
I do free Notebook LM, which
it's another free tool. It's awesome. Notebook's awesome.
I love it because you know, like I said, I'm an engineer, and I'm an engineer for a reason because I don't read very well. I am a very slow reader, and when I was growing up, when I was little, I would actually just go back to the back of the chapter and do problems because I was too slow in reading. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I gotta be in a profession where I don't have to read as much.
Oh.
Engineer,
So you go to marketing.
I go to marketing, but
Yeah.
the reason why I said that is I love Notebook LM for people like me because I'm an auditory learner. So I put a lot of stuff in there just so when I'm walking the dog or driving or putting on makeup, I'm constantly listening to those two podcasters. And that's actually how I position it in my newsletter. I turn all my newsletters into an AI podcast. And I say, hey, these are not humans. These are AI podcasters. And the reason I'm doing this is for diversification of to help with accessibility for people with diverse learning styles. So
I love it because I do the same thing in my newsletter. I'll just load up the entire text and throw it in there and it becomes a 15-minute podcast because I all the time I'll go like in the summertime, I'll go work out, not work out. So I'll go work outside in the yard doing whatever I'm doing. And I'll get a research paper, throw in a notebook, get on my headphones, and I'll just be mowing the lawn, listening to a podcast about whatever the research paper is. I'm like, this is cool. Because then I don't have to like listen to the actual, I know I could use 11 Labs reader and just read the text, but I'm like, I'm not going to get anything because it's way over my head. So I use the podcast version because it tells me in a nice human tone of what the crap's going on. And I can even use the interrupt version going, tell me more about this thing. It's awesome. It's so cool.
I love it. And funny thing is Claude has been my favorite. And I think people's favorites depend on your learning style, your collaboration style. I find that Claude tends to be really insightful. And I use its artifacts capability a lot because I'm not a coder, but I can pretty well. And then it can turn my ideas, take my ideas out of my brain and bring it to life in interactive models. And I love that.
I love it. It's nice. I agree with you because like some of the cool things you do, like I think you did the other day where you made an image from Claude or something. I was like, ooh, that looks like a Claude image, which I have no problem because I make Claude images all the time. It's freaking awesome. And you can put in like your hex codes for colors, mix all the colors. It's like so cool. Like, anyways, I'm in there on this all day long. Yeah.
Over the holidays, I created an interactive Jeopardy game for our family because we had 25 people. So I asked Claude, hey, Claude, can you help me create an interactive Jeopardy?
I love it. So, it was on, you played it on Claude? That is awesome. I love it. Good for you. Dude, send it to me. I want to see it. I was thinking about doing something similar to you, Bolt or Replit or Cursor or something, but doing something similar like that. But Claude can do just as, won't be like super professional, but it would work for a good interaction with family. I think it'd be awesome. Though.
Yeah. And
That's cool.
the link and Claude.
Please.
Share it with the viewers.
Yeah. Heck yeah. I'll send it to everyone. We'll play with their families afterwards. It'd be awesome. It's nothing but a pleasure. You're a gem in the community. I just appreciate you so much being so giving and kind to everyone. And before we go, what's the best way to people to get in touch with you? What do you prefer?
I'm on LinkedIn, so message me, follow me, or my website. It's growthpath.net.
Okay. I'll make sure I have obviously both your URL for your LinkedIn and the website as well. But I just want to tell you thank you for being you and just coming on. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure being here.
Oh, back at you, girl. I love it.
Thanks for listening to the GTM AI podcast. Please follow, subscribe, like, comment, and come back for more.